Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today we're going to make a project called Evening Star, and it's a table topper. It's really fun. For the Evening Star table topper, we only need 3 different fabrics. That's one of the things that makes this topper really fun to make. We're going to need a focal fabric, something with a little zip, with a little pop for the center and for the outer edges here. Then we need a darker accent fabric and a light background. And that's all we need. So let's go over to the shelves and pick out some really fun combinations. I've decided to use the Artisan Spirit shimmer fabrics for this project. This will make a really nice focal fabric. It's a little bit variegated. Perfect. That's going to be my accent. And this is going to be my background. So we'll be using these 3. For this pattern, we have to make some templates. The pattern comes with these pieces already drawn on, and you need to transfer this either to cardboard or plastic like I'm using. You can get this at any craft store. When you make your templates, it's important to get them really straight. So I will often use the rotary blade, and I will often measure the template and then use my background to get the exact right width, because I find when I just copy it on here, it's really hard to get it cut perfectly straight unless I use the blade and the ruler. Let me give you a hint for using the templates. I'm actually going to start off by cutting a strip 3.5 inches wide. That's how wide this is going to be here. So let's use our rotary cutter, because I can get this really accurate like this. Now I'm going to put my template on here, and I need to cut on that line. And I need to cut on this line. So I've got a couple options. What I like to do is hold the template down really firmly and then put my ruler right up against it. It's right up against it, and then hold this down firmly, move that guy. Now I can use my blade and get a really good cut. Now I need to make the next cut. I'm just going to spin this around, put this exactly where it goes, hold it in place, put my ruler right up against it, and then move the template out of the way. The problem with using the template for all your cuts is you can actually cut through the template with your blade. You can cut through the template with your scissors. So I like to either put this on the fabric and mark it with a pencil. That's what I'm going to have to do up here to get that good cut. Because if I put this here and just use the blade, which I can, I risk cutting the template smaller and smaller. I'm going to be working with this portion of the patchwork right here. And I've got all those pieces laid out right here. So I'm going to just sew this in sections. This to this, and sew it all together. So we're going to start off with just these parts. I'm going to match the corners. We are going to finger press the seam allowances towards the dark side there. Next we're going to sew this onto here. Now we're going to match up these notched edges here, and there's a little bit extra coming off the bottom here. That's okay, we're going to trim it at the end. 1/4 inch seams always. So we're going to press this seam towards the darker fabric again. Now when you finger press these, you want to be sure you don't stretch it too much. This is on a straight grain here, but this one is not. That's a bias. So you want to be careful you don't stretch it too much. Got that one there. Now I'm going to sew these together. You'll notice they're not the same size. That's on purpose, so it's not quite as long. We're going to match these corners up and stitch along here. This seam allowance is also going to be pressed towards the dark side here. And you'll notice that's extra long there. That's good because it's going to help us match our pieces when we come here. Now this is going to get stitched onto here. Move this down to where the seam, which is a 1/4 inch, is going to come right in at that intersection there. So this is where we're going to start. We're going to have extra down here. So we're going to start sewing right here. So we've got a nice line here. We're going to iron this towards the dark piece. And again, this is supposed to be extra long. That's so when we seam this in here, we can cut off the excess. So it's starting to shape up. Next seam is right here. So this piece is going to fit right on there with the edges matching, and we're going to sew along this edge. So you notice this again does not come all the way down, and that's okay. Now we're going to press this one toward the light side actually. Now this piece is going to fit onto here, and we're going to match these 2 points here. So this is going to flip over here, and you can see if you line these up here, this intersection here is going to line up, and you can see your stitching line there, and you can see your stitching line there, and that helps you match it up. And this corner here is going to come right to that point right there. So we're actually going to start from that end. We're going to match up this corner with that corner right there. So these are going to line up here, both fabrics, but we're not going to be lined up on here. We're going to be lined up on that corner. This is a little extra big, that's okay. We're going to do a 1/4 inch seam with a 1/4 inch from this line. These corners will match, and this sewing line is going to be right on top of that sewing line. So you can see the stitching back here, you can see the stitching here, and you just use a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Let's open it up. Oh good, we've got a nice crisp point there. We are going to finger press this seam allowance down, and now we're going to take it over to the ironing board and give it a nice steam press. I've got this finger pressed, and it's nice and flat. So I'm just going to give it a nice steam press here. It's always a good idea to flip it over and make sure your seams are facing the way you want them to go and none have gotten flipped while you were sewing. Now all we have to do is make 3 more of these and 4 more of the mirror images. Then we'll have 4 of these, 4 of the mirrors. Then we'll put it together. I have all 4 of this section done and 4 of the mirror images. So this is made exactly the same way, but it's just the opposite. Now when you get all 8 done, here's what it looks like. Really starting to see that star come out. So all we have to do now is sew each corner and then sew the 4 corners together. We've got the whole table topper done now. Turned out really nice. I like the movement in this Northcott print here. You only need 3/4 of a yard of your main print, 3/4 of the accent, and 3/4 of the background. That will give you enough for the patchwork and the borders. I put it on the long arm and quilted it. You can see the quilting here. It's fairly dense because this is going on top of a table and I want it to be nice and flat. So this only takes about an afternoon sewing. Really nice looking on the middle of your table. We welcome your questions, we welcome your comments. So give us the thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.